It's been years since the original sketches aired, but the memory of them still lingers for one Saturday Night Live alum who recently admitted that not everything they did during their time on the show has aged well. The 53-year-old comic, known for some of the most outrageous and side-splitting moments in SNL history, opened up in a candid conversation, reflecting on moments he now considers mistakes, not just in hindsight, but even at the time. The comedian didn't pull any punches when addressing certain sketches that, in his words, should never have made it past the read-through. While he didn't name names or throw writers under the bus, he made it clear that the responsibility also lay with him. "I was young, we all were, and you're so hungry to get something on the air that sometimes you forget about the bigger picture, how it looks, what it says, who it might hurt," he said. He recounted one particular sketch involving an exaggerated cultural stereotype, recalling the laughs it got in the room, but how wrong it felt even as they performed it live. "I remember thinking halfway through, this is not okay, but you're in it. You just keep going. It's live television. There's no escape hatch," he said, adding that the regret settled in shortly afterward, especially after hearing from viewers who didn't find the joke so funny. The former cast member described the show's environment in the early 2000s as cutthroat but electric, where being funny was only half the battle. "You needed a thick skin and a fast pen," he recalled. "You weren't just writing for America, you were writing to survive. And survival meant occasionally compromising personal judgment in pursuit of screen time. The pressure was immense, and sometimes, he confessed, it warped his sense of right and wrong." One controversial moment he zeroed in on was a sketch that involved dressing up as a character from a marginalized group, played for laughs in a way that would be unacceptable today. "At the time, I convinced myself it was satire, but looking back, it was lazy and hurtful," he admitted. "I'm not proud of it. I've had to make peace with the fact that I did that." What's changed since then, he says, is not just his own moral compass, but the landscape of comedy. "People are more aware now, and yeah, some might complain about political correctness, but I think it's a good thing," he said. "It forces you to be smarter, to dig deeper. Cheap laughs don't hold up. Good comedy still does." The comic also spoke about the importance of listening to criticism, even when it's uncomfortable. He recalled being called out years after a sketch aired, and how instead of brushing it off, he chose to engage. "I got a message from someone who said, 'You made me feel like a joke.' That gutted me. Because that was never the intention, but intention doesn't undo impact." In the years since leaving SNL, the star has gone on to build a career that's included drama, voice work, and directing. He's grown, and so has his understanding of comedy as a tool, not just for laughs, but for insight and connection. "I think the best comedy challenges power, not punches down," he said. "That's what I try to teach the younger comics I mentor now." While the conversation around offensive comedy continues to evolve, he believes owning one's past is part of the process. "You can't pretend it didn't happen. You have to acknowledge it, apologize if needed, and do better," he explained. "Nobody's perfect, but there's no excuse for not learning." Asked whether he's ever considered pulling those clips offline, he said it's a complicated question. "On one hand, I wish they weren't out there. On the other, maybe it's good that they are, so people can see how far we've come, and how far we still have to go." He paused before adding, "If I had a chance to do it over again, I would have spoken up more. But I didn't know how back then. I do now." That clarity, he says, has reshaped the way he writes and performs today. "The jokes I'm proud of now aren't just funny, they are true. They say something. And that's what I'm chasing." He shared that mentorship has become one of the most rewarding parts of his post-SNL career. Young comedians often ask him how to balance being fearless with being respectful, and he tells them it's not about walking on eggshells, it's about being thoughtful. "You can still be edgy. You can still shock people. Just make sure the punchline doesn't land on someone already on the ground," he advised. Reflecting on his own growth, he credited therapy, parenthood, and collaborating with more diverse voices for shifting his perspective. "When you surround yourself with people who don't look or think like you, your comedy gets better. Your heart gets bigger," he said. "I've laughed harder in the last 10 years than I ever did on that stage."